Hello. Truly happy to be here for the book launch of The Path of Powerful Kindness. And I'm feeling truly blessed. Blessed, first of all, that you took the time or you're taking the time to watch. And blessed that, the message is out. As you might know, it's all about the message in the book. It's not really about me. It's not really about, numbers or whatever. It's about a message that the world needs right now. And the more people who will read the book, my hope is the more we'll get insights in how we can make different choices for the world right now. But before we start to invite guests, and before we have our conversations tonight with our esteemed guests, we have very renowned thought leaders. Very grateful that they agreed to be here tonight. But let me start with reading the first lines of the book to give you insights and a perspective. Because why I wrote this book. The path of powerful kindness started many years ago. As a 7-year-old, many nights, as I was looking at the stars, I would ask myself, how did I end up in this plane on this planet? I had been told since I can remember that I was too kind for this world. And this I could simply not understand. What did that mean? You're too kind. Did that mean that I had to be less kind? And that has been my main why I wrote the book. Why do people say you're too kind for this world? Why do people say you will not succeed if you're too kind? Do we have to become tough and unkind to succeed? Is that the kind of place? Is that the kind of world we want to create? I don't think so. So that is a message that I felt since childhood that couldn't be true, that you can be too kind. And it was a message that we heard when Jesus said, turn the other cheek, which I felt in my bones. That's it, what I feel. It's the message that Martin Luther King Jr. said. He said, the oppressor needs our love, not our hate. And it's the message that I feel that Nobel Peace Prize winner Albert Schweitzer said. His reverence for life, his philosophy about life is a gift. What do we do with that gift? So that has been like the foundation, the foundational why that I felt that I had to bring this message to the world. And the world is in need of that message now, more than ever. So before I invite our first guest, which is our guest of honor, I would like to say to you that in the next 24 hours, the Kindle version of this book can be purchased at a 50% discount until November 15th at midnight. And also, the first 50 buyers who send me their payment receipt will get a signed copy sent to home from me. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our first guest, Lamine Abdul Malik. And I feel very blessed that Lamine wrote the foreword for the book. Lamine and his colleagues were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize with the International Atomic Energy Agency in 2005. And about $200,000 of the prize money from the Peace Prize was allocated to Lamine's project in establishing Zambia's first cancer hospital, which was created in 2007 and treats about 1,500 cancer patients annually. So I couldn't think of a more suitable human being to have been writing my foreword. So Lamine, welcome tonight. Um, well, grateful, grateful for you. Um, so, in the forward, which I love so much, you explained how um, kindness is as close to the human being as our breath. And I
Yeah.
love that because I think that's truly profound. Could you maybe elaborate on this embodiment of kindness?
Thanks a lot. First of all, good evening, and thanks for inviting me. Well, twice, inviting me to the launch of your book event, and of course, inviting me to write the foreword for your book. I'm truly honored to that you selected me to share this gift, and I'm also praying that everything goes well with your book. I think it's a very bold step to have a book with that title, because people tend to think, oh, why would you have a title like that for a book when you can sell other things that saying, oh, self-development, how to be a better person, how to be better, something like that. But I think, kindness goes to the core of our essence and our being.
Hmm.
And when I was thinking about when you talked about what can I share with you in terms of kindness, I thought about something like this and actually wrote a poem, something similar to what I shared um, with you. So it came very natural for me to describe the concept of kindness without breath. Now, the reason why I came up with that essence is that I just thought, I think kindness is just something that emanates from us when we're born at the beginning.
Hmm.
Even if you watch your child in terms of course, sometimes as they get older, they ask you lots of questions, but that essence, that innocence at the beginning, I think is that very closely related to our breath. And the reason why I wanted to use that analogy is I just thought that, breathing, of course, is something that comes naturally, or should I say, it not naturally to us. In fact, it's one of the acts or things that we don't actually do. It's actually automatic. If you had to think about breathing, someone has said once that people would be falling dead on the streets on a daily basis because they're not thinking about breathing. But I thought
Hmm.
it's so automatic, our breathing. And I think I really believe that kindness is also related to that. As we go through life, we get told, oh, don't be you're too kind. You shouldn't do that. People might take advantage
Yes.
of you. But I think, when you have to start thinking about stopping to do something that naturally comes to you as a human being, I actually find that exhausting. So if you naturally, if it's a natural element for you to just be kind, just like breathing,
Hmm.
then it's
Yes.
easier for you to keep on doing that. And no one should ever say to you, no, you're too kind. I think I shared in the forward that I remember once when our daughter was much younger. I think she'd just gone out of kindergarten. I think she was 5 or 6 years old, and her teacher
Hmm.
was saying to her, "Oh, your daughter's really good. She's a really good student, but she's too kind." And my wife and I were like, "Is there such a thing as too kind?"
Yeah.
She always says please and thank you. And I thought, how is that? How is that too kind? So we should teach her not to say please and thank you all the time. Then I was reading through, when I was reading through your book, I mean, you talked about what you just said in introduction, how you were always like that, and you were told, no, you shouldn't be like that. You should be a bit different because the world's a cruel
Hmm.
place. It's going to take
Hmm.
advantage of you. But I think, if you look at the word authenticity, it relates to being true to yourself.
Yes.
And I
Hmm.
can't think of anything that you should be more in life being true to yourself. Being true to
Yes.
yourself means that you're alive, that means you're breathing. And also being true to yourself means you're naturally giving the gift of kindness on a daily
Hmm.
basis. It's easy to give. When you start restricting that thing, then you begin to have problems. Think about it. If you restrict your breathing, you're actually going to have problems. And I think if you restrict your kindness, I think
Absolutely.
probably will have some problems later on in life. People might not
Hmm.
appreciate it. Even people who are not, that we might judge or misjudge as not being kind or being cruel in any way, they love people to be kind to them. They recognize kindness because they recognize the humanity in it. It's like a mirror. You might see that clear mirror in front of you, and maybe you need to just polish it to see your reflection of yourself. But I really
Yes.
believe that kindness and
Hmm.
breathing are
Hmm.
intertwined. And as I have mentioned to you, I think I said in my forward, at the end, even though you might stop breathing because it might signify the end of this particular journey in life, but kindness will always remain in people's hearts, because it's not what you say to people, it's how you make them feel that will remain, that will be your legacy.
Yes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I love how you tie it with innocence. Because as a child, we are naturally, like that kind and that innocence. And what I write in the book too is that maybe we get disappointed in being kind and not being treated well, but then going through experiences, we get the wisdom tied to the innocence. So we stay pure in our heart, but we get the discernment that there are certain people who simply are too, you could say, too wounded, too have such a thick mask
Yeah.
that some people it's just better to keep that distance. It's not personal
Yeah.
because they are, you could say, like absorbed in their own pain, their own toxicity, and there's just no. So it's about discernment. You have that innocence, and it's important to stay close to that purity and that
Yeah.
innocence. But through life, it's what it's added, it's the discernment that we
Yeah.
say, okay, we will not allow someone else to make us feel bad. We will stay in our kindness, we will treat them with kindness, but we always have to come back to ourselves and to refill, like ourselves with that energy to be able to give.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it can be, of course, it can be challenging in terms of using that discernment,
Yes.
especially when you meet them for the first time. I always believe that whenever you meet anybody for the first time, you should just show as much of your true essence as possible, just being kind. Of course, if they reject that, of course, we don't live in a perfect world. There might be
Mm-hmm.
people, as you said rightly, that might have some kind of trauma from their past that might not
Mm-hmm.
have to respond to kindness. But at
Mm-hmm.
least in the first way, I think it's easy to give that rather than trying to restrict
Yes.
that and then trying
Yes,
to.
absolutely. It's never about restricting. It's also about understanding. I think it's understanding where certain behavior from other people comes from,
Yeah.
not taking it personally. It has nothing to do with you. It's a reflection of them, and it's important for us to stay. Like you say, always respond with kindness, because that's a very powerful response. Many people would say, well, it's a sign of weakness. I do not agree at all. So when
Yeah.
somebody would say something rude, you're not weak if you stay calm and centered. You stay outside those words, but
Yeah.
you tap into your, you could say, your strength and power. Sometimes you could even compare it like with a samurai or a Zen monk.
Yeah.
Like the one who is rude and aggressive is the one in pain and eaten away by these
Yeah.
emotions, and you stay calm and centered outside that. And that's really a sign, you could say, of inner strength, rather than it has been taken for so long as a weakness.
Exactly, definitely, because we have also within ourselves some kind of angelic realm, and of
Mm-hmm.
course we have another part of us that's more like the reptilian part where we respond. But I think
Mm-hmm.
the reptilian one is very easy. It's very easy to respond or react and think
Yes.
negative about someone. But if you have that angelic realm and you try and access that on a daily
Mm-hmm.
basis, which is basically to remain quiet, calm, silent, and
Mm-hmm.
respond with calmness, and don't get yourself being pushed into a corner where you feel uncomfortable with who you are. So I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe I think by responding with kindness or being silent and calm is definitely an inner strength, because you're basically saying, no, I'm not going to act in this way. I'm going to
Yes.
access the essence of my humanity to deal
Mm-hmm.
with this.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it's kind of the difference between the impulsive reaction and a more conscious response. It's training ourselves
Yes.
in response, in like just like stepping back from the situation, you could say, go outside and then center and then choose a response, rather than like that impulsive reaction that many times we regret afterwards. We said a word, and it's really a training. And the more we do that, the more we take time to hold space, take a step back, and just respond in the most, you could say, mature and balanced way. But it's just something that we don't witness so often. And I think also for our children, in trying to model that, they already see new role models. Television is full of people who yell at each other, who go into discussion, who never listen. Like they
Yeah.
never listen to each other, and that's what we see many times. Instead of a balanced and a mature conversation, where
Yeah.
people listen, they ponder, and then they respond. And the more we can model that for our children, the more they will see, oh, I can just stay quiet, think, and then my words.
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, it is kind of a bit worrying because I think we have to go back to the educational system
Yes,
to see how that can be basically entrenched into our children's minds. The concept of
yes,
kindness.
yes,
Of course, to
yes.
share one way, of course, that human beings love stories. So I think
Mhm.
having more
Yes,
of the
yes,
stories that promote kindness, so that stays with them longer,
yes,
because that's how
yes,
most children learn is through stories. That's why we
yes,
read our kids stories at night before they go to bed. But to read them more stories about kindness, about peaceful
yes,
people who have already, and not just you know um, characters that don't exist, but going back to history, whether it's to be in the Bible or
yes,
Quran or Torah,
absolutely,
for example,
absolutely.
stories of real kindness. You can say, okay, that person really did that. Someone like that actually existed, and this is how they handled that particular situation.
Yes,
So they know it's
yes.
not something it's a fantasy. So I think
Hmm.
going back and promoting more of those folklore stories from the past, from people's
Yes,
different
yes.
from past generations, things that happen in their countries, things that happen in their
I think
communities.
I think that's great because now we have a different lens through which we look at history. It's
Yeah,
about conquering, it's about fighting, it's about wars. But if we could have another lens through which we look at history and take those people who were superheroes of courage, of kindness, um, and bring those stories, it would open. They would have a different view on what is possible for humanity now, I think.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I saw this research that said that they did a brain scan. They were doing a scan of people's
Mhm.
brains, and apparently, when they gave, there was more pleasure in the brain. They picked up in the brain scan. Sorry, the pleasure. There was more pleasure in giving than in receiving or
Receiving.
doing other things like winning or doing something
I
nonsensical.
think.
It
I
shows that,
think.
yeah. So it shows that basically we're wired to give and to give kindness and to share love than anything else. People might give you lots of stories, but even scientists have to admit that when
No,
you
absolutely. And I think what we know intuitively, science has proved. Because what
yes,
is more beautiful? I put a smile on my face, and a human is wired to smile back. And that's
yes,
magic. I think that's just magic. You
yeah,
smile back, even with a stranger. So, and valuing that again,
yeah,
valuing that a smile of a stranger is a valuable thing. It's even a sacred thing. And
yes,
people have become so blind, like so focused on a different kind of life that they lost that sense of the magic of a like a gentle touch, a
yeah,
kind word, and finding that back, and not like that endless seeking for fulfillment in scrolling through social media or in buying new dresses or in having
mm,
that fancy car. No, just a
yeah.
smile, just a hi. And okay, well, I mean, thank you for having joined us tonight.
Okay.
I'm truly grateful for the beautiful, you could say, start you give in the book, for having that subtle, beautiful energy at the beginning of the book. Thank you once again, and we'll
Okay.
certainly keep in touch.
Definitely. And wish you all success with the book. And I'm so grateful that you took that step to at least plant some kindness in the world. And I wish you success with
Thank
the book and hopefully and the opportunity to discuss this in a wider platform as well.
you. Okay, thank you. So, our next guest is an extraordinary woman, a real powerhouse, a woman who understands the depth of our human condition and the power of choosing love. She is the president at Geopolitical Alliance of Women and head of Ukrainian Women in the UN project. And as a woman whose country is in war, she understands the impact of choosing peace. Svetlana, welcome.
Thank you,
And I'm
Barbara.
truly honored that you're with us tonight. And maybe you can tell us a bit more what powerful kindness is for you.
Thank you, Barbara. First of all, I'm really proud to be part of this conversation because it's very rare to find a topic of kindness in dialogues, in human dialogues, especially nowadays dialogues. You see what happened in the world right now. It seems like the big puzzle broken very much, but at the same time, it's sign for us that it's time for kindness, it's time for love, it's time for women, it's time for us. It's the best time, and we have to understand it consciously. And question what we as a women or as a human can do right now with kindness, with love, and with morality. And I want to say thank you to you one more time when you asked me to read your book. It was part to how to say like to analyze my thinking about kindness, to put everything together, and to make short resume. What does it mean, kindness? And I understood that kindness is a gift of God. And what I see in nowadays time, I see, for example, if you go to the kindergarten or place when kinder play together with parents, what words we heard from this place? It's a little bit, I don't know what about in Brussels or other countries in Europe, but I know especially what happened in Ukraine. In Ukraine, our mothers teach kids to be more aggressive. If you want to survive, you should to be aggressive. You should to secure yourself. But at the same time, if we talk about Ukrainian roots, there is one of the best philosophers in the world. His name is Skovoroda. He said that if I want to be loved, I love. If you want to have this gift from God, which has everyone in the world. Everyone came to this world, to our earth, with kindness. We should to keep it and develop, but we lost, unfortunately, and your book, it's like called as a path to the kindness, and we should to learn how to do step by step on this way. Yes, and it's very good to understand it first. That's why it's what I want to say about nowadays leadership, and you see what world we have according of action of world leaders. We have broken life. We have broken. You see how many Ukrainians right now lost own homes. How many, like each Ukrainian family lost somebody during this world. My mother, for example, she was born outside of Ukraine during the Second War, and she passed away during this war outside of Ukraine. This is our human life circle, and it means a sign that we made systematical mistake. It's mean leaders. We made and make systematical mistake. We doesn't understand that kindness. We try to move kindness when we make decision making. We try to move it because we should to be very practical, very rational, and yes, but the same.
And we see where that brought us. Like on losing. Like forgetting that we have a heart. You see the state of the world now. So that complete imbalance. And I think there's a big role there for women, and for mature women, like the moms, the grandmoms of this world, who have brought in this world children who know what love and kindness is, who know, like we always think long term. Women think about future generations. We think we just have it. I think we need to rebalance that in leadership.
Yes, we need to balance. And women with kindness, who doesn't, woman who doesn't afraid to be kind, should
Yes.
lead the world, because it is only one way to create balance in the geopolitical situation right now. Somebody should to be hero, and yes, I am waiting for this hero, and I am waiting for somebody. It doesn't matter for sure, Barbara, it is man or woman, because I met in my life,
I know.
in my life a lot of men with big
Yes.
kindness. And you talked with Lamin about smile on the face.
Yes.
I met a lot of people, women and men, who don't have a smile on the face, but they have kindness inside. They have big smile inside.
Yeah.
There's very serious face, but inside, like in actions, this person very kind. It's very difficult to recognize who is kind or not. But for me, kindness, it's if you meet a person with kindness, or with in
Yes.
kind, it's sign for you that you have a deal with person who understand what does it mean love.
Yes.
And but everybody are looking for love, and it's very difficult to follow.
Yes.
But it's my recommendation to everyone to start to be love. And it's only one way to make our world in balance, to create this balance. Because I want to support your book and your thing about, if you want to help yourself, please help others. It's only one way. Helping others, you help automatically yourself. But our education, you talked before me about educational system. Our educational system, psychology system, said about, first you should think about yourself, protect yourself from something. No, it's not work. You should to stream your action, to stream your thinking, to protect others.
I think in collaboration, and that's what I wrote in the book too, choose collaboration over competition. Because if you choose for collaboration, 1 + 1 becomes 3. If you choose for competition, you both lose. And it's a human being is a social being, is a being who loves to connect, and bringing ideas together, bringing people together is, I think, a lot more beneficial than keeping that also in education, that competitive system. You are only a worthy child if you have good grades, if you have, like 100% or 90%, and other kids are not worthy. That's not true. If you could teach a child that empathy, kindness, having it, like helping a child that has fallen down, and like a child that is hurt, that is true, you could say, success in life, in opening your heart. And of course we have to develop our brain, but it has to be in balance both, and now we have lost that balance. Okay, well, thank you so much.
I want to say one more thing, a couple seconds, that even if you have a deal with a lot of people, and this huge big group of people at the street voting for or declare some things which contradict with yourself, with inside of you, you should be kind to this group. And you should to keep your thinking inside you and grow up yourself very much. Because only you is that right person who have a chance or opportunity to change the world. And don't follow this this big mess of
No, it's
of
not because the entire world says you have to become tough and hard that we do that. It's
yes,
about, like the light that you have in you, just to share it. And
yes.
I
If
think
everybody doesn't love you, your responsibility, you will be only
yeah,
one who will love,
yes, yes.
and you should
Be
do
love,
it.
be
Yes.
love. That's
And thank you,
beautiful,
Barbara,
Svetlana.
for your
Thank
book,
you.
and I wish success of your book, and thank you to
Thank you.
opportunity to talk with people through this
Mhm.
presentation, and open,
Okay.
and certainly I like my proposition to read a lot, to make
Mhm.
analysis, and to understand who are you. And who are you? It's mean each of us has a heart, and you have a responsibility about what this heart do.
Yes.
Does
You have
what this heart
we all
does.
have a responsibility. Absolutely. That's very beautiful. Thank you, Svetlana. I feel very blessed to know you.
Thank you.
feel
I
very
want
blessed.
to say thank you everyone in the world who watch this stream right now, for your support to Ukraine and Ukrainians. And yes, unfortunately, our soldiers should to do what they do. But if you see pictures from line of the war, you will see how our Ukrainian soldiers secured not only Ukrainians, they secured animals, and you can see huge number of appearing of love and kindness from the Ukrainian people right now. And please be with us, and we love
Mhm.
us very much. And thank you for your support of Ukraine.
Thank you, Svetlana. So we'll keep in touch, and thank you once again.
Thank you.
So tonight we have a great bunch of guests, and we have some real celebrities tonight. Join me in welcoming Susie Green. Susie is the last member of the Supremes. If I recollect well, she even wrote a song for Michael Jackson. She's a super creative and the co-founder of Capital Code. But most of all, she's an amazing human being, human with a capital H, understanding profoundly the gift of this human life. Welcome, Susie. So happy to have you here.
What an
And
honor. What an honor it is. It's always an honor to be in your presence, because you have inspired me and mentored me in so many ways, many that you probably didn't even realize you were doing. But I'm just so excited for you, for this movement that you are beginning. We've talked many times about how
yes.
important kindness is to the world.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
now more than any time, we've dug
Mhm.
a hole.
Yes.
Humanity has lost so much of the essence of sharing the connections and the things that we have in common, the commonalities we share more than the differences. I think we
Oh,
know that.
we know.
But at this time, we've taught ourselves online
Mhm.
tremendously to be cold, to be distant, to be anonymous, to be mean spirited, to be all of the things that are against our spirits and our
Mhm.
souls. I think it's important for us to understand other people. But
Mhm.
I also think that, I often say these are the times for the brave.
Yes.
Beyond that, we need
Yes.
that courage, that sense of
Yes.
this is the time to stand up, whether we
Mhm.
want to or not. This is the
Mhm.
time to press forward, to
Mhm.
move back to the good things that are in each of us. I
Mhm.
never forget kindnesses that have been done to me, and
Mhm.
moments when I've tried to be kind to people.
Mhm.
You don't forget those either, because it heals you in so many
Yes.
ways.
Yes.
It gives back. We're in the middle of I've heard, I didn't understand this until I read your book. We are in a spiritual war. It's a concerted global effort to bring us down to a basic meanness and a place where we are distant from other people. And like you said, we are creatures who are made to be social.
Yes.
If we can be courageous enough under pressure to choose to be kind to another person that we know is suffering. If they didn't suffer, they wouldn't reach out in a mean or a distant or a cold way. They've been through so much. If we just include COVID, if we include the wars we are going through in the world, if we include the way that we see people every day treat each other as if they didn't matter, as if they weren't human. And this isn't even in the war zones. This is online, in our homes, in our faces. And it leaches out to our children who so desperately need love and uplifting and inspiration and joy. You know,
Absolutely.
I've been very blessed in my life. I know that. I know it's, you know, I always think I was just a regular girl who had some talents, but who happened to be in the right place at the right time. But the thing that I realized for myself was not so much that people needed my talents. People needed my heart, and they needed my kindness. They needed inspiration. Yes, that's it. But if there's a concerted effort against us being loving and kind, then we have to go out of our way. Those who can, it's our duty as a human being to reach up out of the way of the world and to be in the world, but not of it.
Yes.
To be sharing and giving. And, you know, growing up, I heard that so many times about, you know, you're too nice. You know, how can you be too nice? I would rather, it doesn't even make sense, does it?
No.
But, you know, it was only, and I know so many, I'm blessed to know so many wonderful people who outreach, you know, people who are loving and generous of spirit, who have taught me the things that I needed to know to move forward in my life. But to live in these times is a very special gift because we've survived. My word, we've survived COVID, we've survived so many things that are going on, and we will continue to, because the world is not an easy place. But we also must survive being the love that we move between each other. The love, the kindness. You know, I'm developing games and a lot of things in Web3 that are the future of the next iteration of the web. And it's all based in how I try to think, how can I teach young people who crave excitement and thrills and, you know, so much of that bravado that goes along with being, you know, what they think is a gangster or being tough. You know, there's so much of that. But how can I develop games that reward young people for being kind? It's not an easy subject to even reach out to. It's an old-fashioned idea, kindness. But if it weren't for kindness, I would never be in the world in my own head that I'm in. You know, as a mother, as a grandmother. I've got two darling girls in my life who are so beautiful in their hearts. You know, they're creative, they draw, they do all of these things. But mostly, the hardest thing I think to teach children is how to grab their choice to be who they are as a kind person. Because, you know, they're inundated with all kinds of things that we didn't have when we were children. And so much of it is a waste of their loving, beautiful, kind spirit. It
Yes.
teaches them to separate themselves, to not trust in the magic that they have in their hearts. You know, we're magical beings.
Yes.
We can think of something and do it. We can accomplish it. And for women, particularly
Yes.
right now, for young girls, it's our time. And so many other things have stolen that moment to try to discourage us between politics and, you know, anger and hatred and all of those things. It's a distraction to
Yes.
fool us into thinking that there's not goodness and kindness and a future for us all. I'm so grateful to you. You know, we met our last meeting was so wonderful in the Netherlands, and
Yes.
you know, we were able to walk around and
Yes.
laugh and see the ocean and all of that, you know. But it makes me think you can travel around the world, and everywhere you go there are lovely people. Everywhere
Yes.
you go there are people who are going through things, who are carrying a burden, people who are suffering, and we've been blessed not to be in dire straits, let's put it that way.
Yes.
But
And don't you think
go ahead.
Yes. And I love the idea that in the beginning Lamine said it's telling more stories to our children about the power of kind people,
Yes.
about what the ripple effect they bring, instead of focusing on the wars and the conquerors, and just to bring this heroic stories of kind superheroes, you could say,
Yes.
but in a way that they can see, like, you know, like the samurai, like, you know, like the one who is calm, who will not attack, who stays centered and calm outside of the impulses and the aggressions of the one who cannot control himself.
Yes, of
Kind,
course.
composed, and break that cycle of the one who, you know, like he's full of frustration and hate. You respond with calmness, kindness, and in that way you are like an alchemist, you could say. You
Yes, it's
change that, you bring something that, and once people start to witness that, they're like, whoa, there's another way we can live, there's another way of being human.
of course. And we must, you know,
Yes.
we must choose that, because in spite of the things going on this earth, we're running out of time, even from the earth.
Yes.
You know, it's responding in ways we haven't considered. So I think it's up to us to help each other survive whatever comes. We don't know what's going to come to the world, but we do know things constantly change. And we know we have to be brave enough to stand up for that.
Yes.
But right now, you know, bravo to you for doing this, because it's a beginning. It's bringing that consciousness to the world, which is so important for us to hear that there are others, and see that there are others who feel this in their hearts.
Who feel.
Yes,
and who didn't give up,
to go out there.
Who didn't give up, who
That's
didn't
right.
believe what was told, who didn't believe the story, like, you're too kind, who didn't believe it, who said there must be a way, to stay true to your kindness and still move on, and still, you know, like have a life as a wife, as a mom, as a business person, you know, like I'm in the real world. I'm not in a monastery. I'm not some kind of guru at all. I'm just a plain woman who does the laundry, the dishes, who has business meetings, you know, like who goes to her mom, but still, you know, like having always coming back to the light within me, and back, you know, whatever is surrounded. I think it's giving that message. There's a way to always come back there. Well,
I agree
thank
so
you
much.
so much.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you. You're so full of love, and it's
Thank
greatly
you.
appreciated.
Thank you.
But
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, our next guest is a dear, dear friend of mine. I can tell you one thing. This book would never have seen the daylight without her help. She has been there the entire journey. And I'm talking about Catherine Roy. She's a former representative of the Youth Leadership for Peacemaking. She's a TEDx keynote speaker, a business and personal growth coach. She survived the war in former Yugoslavia in 1999, and she's a true ambassador for peace and kindness. Thank you for joining us, Catherine, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Joining you, it's always a pleasure. And joining after our dear Suzette, you two together, my heart is so filled with joy. And I'm so happy and honored to have a chance to be here with you, and that I had a chance to walk through all of this
The
journey.
process, the entire
Everything, yeah.
and you know, the tough part, the technical part, you know, like looking, yeah, you were there always to support me, to be there for me. I'm truly grateful. So could you share with us a little bit what powerful kindness is for you?
Well, my dear Barbara, I thought about this, and it is you. It is you, and this is the first time I have an opportunity to say that live. As you mentioned, I was born in former Yugoslavia, and during 90s, unfortunately, there was a bombing which lasted 78 days. I was only 17 years old, and I didn't know if I'm going to live the next day. And in my life, everything was except kind, because fear overtook everything that is human in everyone. The first one who reached out to me and gave me the opportunity to work and to do something that I love, that was you. You stayed with me all of this time and all of these years. And with tears in my eyes, and these are the tears of
You
joy.
even bring tears into my eyes now.
Which is good because people need to feel these emotions. You are a true beacon of love, and I, as someone who read your book in the process of creation, would like to say that this book is life-changing, and from the bottom of my heart, I recommend everyone to read and to feel the emotion behind this book. For me, the powerful kindness is actually the most important way of not only behavior, but the way of being, which can completely change the world. As someone who unfortunately lived these 90s, and what Svetlana mentioned is happening now in Ukraine, and what is happening in other parts of the world.
Yes, absolutely.
This shows that humanity didn't learn anything from the past experiences and all the suffer we who unfortunately experienced that. And I have to say, a lucky one. I didn't even experience as much as my today friends and family did in other parts of Yugoslavia. We need to be the beacon of life and light and force, which can change the leadership. Narcissistic and egocentric leadership, which is bringing us to the point where we again witness these things which are happening in the world. All my life, I was silent because I was afraid to speak, because every time I spoke, they would say, you're just too kind, you're just too gentle, you will not succeed.
You're
in life.
naive.
You're naive. Yeah, everyone will play you out. And you know, when you listen to that, you start believing that. But among other people who I met, you were the first one who actually helped me to see there is another way. And the way how you present, not only being kind, this is a deeper philosophy which you actually explained in the book. It is about being who you truly are, respecting the other person and understanding the other person, where they are coming from a deep level of empathy,
Mhm.
actually, creating that beautiful bond of all of us. We are all coming from the same source. We are all one. If we just understand that, and if we understand that hurt people, and people who have a need to hurt another human being are hurt themselves,
Yes, absolutely.
it is the moment when the humanity can actually realize that we can heal. And this is why I believe that your book, and I think this is the first step of the beautiful legacy which you are creating, is this the beacon of actually truly presenting kindness as I mentioned, even a leadership tool, which I believe if leaders on the position leadership accept, would drastically change the way that we as humanity develop ourselves.
Thank you. Thank you so much for these beautiful words. I'm almost speechless. I'm sure you touched the audience with your passionate call for well, that's my deep um you could say my deep desire that this book is more than a book, but more a movement. I'm an action taker. I'm all about action, taking action in life. No words without, like accompanied by actions, walking the talk, leading by example. That's all. So if we, like everybody who reads the book would really realize the power they have in making those changes, that would be, like, it's about a message. That's what I said in the beginning. Catherine,
And
thank you so much.
it's starting a way of a beautiful change. And I wish to thank you from the core of my heart for being a light in my life, for showing me there is a way, and for being my mentor and for teaching me other way of being and doing things in life, which completely changed me and my family and everyone around me. And this is why I'm here to support you 100%.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us tonight. See you
My
soon.
pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So our next guest was a very courageous soul because he volunteered to read the first version of The Path of Powerful Kindness and gave me some very valuable feedback. And I'm truly grateful for that. I would like to welcome now Jeff Rhodes, University professor and CEO founder of Promote the Good. Welcome, Jeff. Thank you for being here. And
It is my pleasure.
maybe you could share with us what powerful kindness is for you.
Well, first of all, it's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for including me in this amazing group of amazing human beings. So I'm honored by that. And again, like everyone has said, kudos to you. I'm so touched as I've been listening to um, the guests coming before me, how they spoke about your impact on their lives, and that's just amazing. And so, blessings to you for that, to know and to hear and learn and know that you've impacted people in such a positive way. So I just want to share that with you first, to
Thank
say
you.
that to you. So congratulations. So I as I'm listening and I was thinking about the concept, and I was thinking about just the importance of for me, powerful kindness is about reminding us of our humanity. And I think that we live in space and time that sometimes
Yes.
there are forces that try to divide us and try to separate us and isolate us from each other. And I've heard one of your guests mention, we all come from the same place, we're all one. I think in our everyday functions, we don't seem to remember that. And sometimes it's the simplest thing. Like, think about when somebody has been kind to you. How do you feel when someone's been kind to you? Why would you not want to share that feeling with someone else? Why would you want to not create the conditions for someone else to feel that sense of kindness when it's been given to them? And so it's an inspiration to remind me to be kind and and as I often say, sometimes in the face of adversity, to take the high road, but
Yes.
not always in the face of just adversity. Sometimes it's just being kind for the sake of being kind, like being kind for kindness' sake, not always
Yes.
having to be kind in the face of a challenge, but just be having kindness be the way you act, like have
It's
that
its
just
own
be the way you are,
it's
right?
its own reward. It's like you could
Yes,
say
amazing.
when you're kind, something within you lights you up. So in your
Yes,
kindness, you light up. So that
yes,
you lighting up is the gift. Even if
yes,
it lights up someone else, that's great. But
yes.
it's like when you hate, so
Mm,
you shrink, and that's you are punishing
yes,
yourself mostly, not the one you're hating. It's you
yes.
yourself. So in being kind,
So,
that's really, I think that's one of the most important concepts, that being kind just for the sake of the kindness, and
mhm,
for like your spirit is lighting up, your
yes,
soul is
yes,
having, like it's up. And kindness can come in many ways. So if you're teaching and you feel that you are teaching full of passion, and you are
yes,
sharing your light, then it's an act of kindness to the world, that you are sharing your gift. Instead of some people sometimes listen too much to the world, they
mm,
choose some kind of job they do not like and dims their spirit.
yes,
It's even an act of not being kind to yourself.
yes,
Then,
yes.
and just being kindness can take many, many forms.
I agree 100%. And as a lifelong educator, someone's
Mm-hmm,
committed to the process of learning.
mm-hmm,
um, One of the ways I try to demonstrate kindness is by giving grace to others. I think that that's something sometimes
mm-hmm,
in the position as a professor that I'm able to do. And
mm-hmm,
it's received by students as an act of kindness,
mm-hmm.
right? So, and it could be the smallest things, is when they come to you and they're nervous about wanting to ask for an extension, or ask you for a consideration of
Yes.
for a deadline because we need something,
Mm-hmm,
and just listen to them and talking to them, saying, sure, I understand that, I can work with you on that. And they receive it as, boy, that's a kind thing for you to do. I appreciate your kindness
mm-hmm,
towards me. I
mm-hmm,
said, sure, because you're a human being, and
mm-hmm,
the fact that we communicated about it. So there's so many ways, as you mentioned, Barbara, where we can in our daily lives
mm-hmm,
um, give kindness, show kindness, act kind.
mm-hmm.
It's really not difficult, and I really feel that this groundbreaking book that you've shared with us, I hope it becomes a tool to help inspire people to reconnect to their humanity, and hope it becomes a
Yes.
ground wave. I hope it really does, especially in these days we're living in. I hope it becomes a ground wave where we start to see people being kind to each other in
Mm-hmm.
genuine, authentic ways. I think it's time, and
Yes. I
we need it.
Yes.
Need it.
Being that to being that role model. I remember one of the first conversations we had about the book was that you said, like, oh, I feel more empowered that I can be the change. Like
Mhm.
in bringing that in the book, like it's the small acts. It's not about speaking before millions of people about kindness. It's
Correct.
not about that at all. It's
Yes.
in your daily. So you have the grumpy grocer, like the grumpy cashier at the grocery store, who
Yes.
maybe had just a difficult moment,
Yeah.
but you stay kind, you light maybe up the day. It's in those moments that you create the ripple effects. And like having the feeling, yes, I can make a change.
Yes.
Like every one of us, if we all realize that our small,
Yes.
which seem small efforts, but
Yeah.
if you would look at a way of consciousness, it's a
Yes.
huge effort,
Yes.
that it makes, like it counts.
It
It's
does.
really important.
It does. And we all doing our part. Some
Yes,
people,
yes,
some
yes.
people are meant to be on a platform where they reach hundreds and thousands of
Hmm.
people, and that's
Yes,
wonderful. And some
yes,
people are meant to be on a platform to reach one person, and that
yes.
matters just the same.
It
And
matters
it
the
matters
same.
just the same. And it
Absolutely.
matters just the same.
It
It's about
matters
being
the
kind.
same.
So it matters the
Yes.
same.
And I
Yes.
think one of the most important things is really demonstrate it in your daily life with your
Yes.
mom, with your
Yes.
sister, even
Yes.
if you do not always feel aligned with them,
Yes.
like act
Yes.
from a place of love with your
Yes.
children, with
Yes.
colleagues at work. Those are the biggest teaching moments, I think.
Yes.
If you cannot demonstrate it at home,
Mm.
there's
Yeah, there's
there's where it starts.
some quote I forgot. I'm gonna misquote, but it's something to the effect that charity begins at home. Something around that idea to that
Yes,
effect, right? And
I think
so
now
something right?
if you think you're enlightened, I
Mhm.
know that's Ramdas. If you think you're enlightened,
Mhm.
stay a week with your family. He said that. He said that. I
Yeah.
know that. Well,
That's
Jeff,
very on
thank you
point.
so much. Yes, thank you
Thank
so much for your contribution
Oh,
today.
my honor.
I
My
feel
honor.
blessed that we met. I feel
My
blessed that
honor.
you just sent me a LinkedIn message saying, "Can we meet?" And like it happened. And look at us
It
now.
changed. Yes,
So
we are in each other's network now. We've
yes,
connected. So
yes,
that's
yes,
and
yes.
I'm what an
Great.
honor. And again, just kudos to you and to your family and all the people
Thank
lives
you.
you touch, and just thank you so much, Barbara. So thank you so much. I'm
Thank
just honored and humbled. Thank you sincerely. Wish
Yes,
you
thank
nothing
you
but
so
continued
much.
success, nothing but the best. Nothing but the
Thank you,
best.
thank you, thank you.
Be
Thank you,
well,
Jeff.
my friend.
So
Be well.
bye-bye. Um well, from beautiful Saudi Arabia, join me in welcoming Ambreen Nadi. If you would ask me, name a person who personifies dignity and peace, I would name Ambreen. Ambreen is a psychologist and writer of The Algorithm of Life, and I can highly recommend the book. She is one of the top voices on LinkedIn and has a passion for mental well being. So, dear Ambreen, thank you for joining us tonight at the book launch. And maybe you could share a few words on what powerful kindness means for you.
First of all, thank you so much. And I feel honored and privileged to be part of this book launch and to be part of your book. I mean, you've been one of the few people on LinkedIn whom I always look up to and always seek inspiration from your posts and from the kindness that you exude throughout. I mean, it's amazing. So it's truly an honor for me. So coming back to your question, like
Yes.
kindness is, I believe, it's a small act which may not mean everything, and it's kind of I posted a few days ago also, and it's a language that is
Mm-hmm.
spoken and understood by everyone. I mean,
Yes.
every species in the universe. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's not the words, it's just the feelings that you
Yes.
convey to others. And
Mm-hmm.
if we look back, I mean, if you look the psychological or spiritual aspect of
Mm-hmm.
these are the frequencies that we emit, and
Mm-hmm.
these are the way that we show love, and we don't need
Mm-hmm.
to speak about it. It's just we convey it with our hearts. I mean, these are the kind of the electromagnetic field that exude through
Mm-hmm.
our heart, and
Mm-hmm.
it reaches to the other person, and they just feel
Mm-hmm.
it. It's just like the way
Yes.
you gather us tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and we're sharing love with the world
Yes.
and with
Yes.
you, and we are part of your uh, this this campaign of
Mm-hmm.
sharing love and
Mm-hmm.
kindness to the world,
Mm-hmm.
especially in these times where world
Yes.
is facing such a bad time. It's the turmoil these days. Look what is happening in the world around, like Ukraine, Palestine, and like
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. There's so
Mm-hmm.
much sadness and depression
Mm-hmm.
going on. We need to spread these kind of messages to
Mm-hmm.
reach out to them and to say that, you know, there are still good people who are sharing and spreading love. So I think this is what I feel that kindness is to me.
I love how you say it's a language, and
Yeah.
even if it's behind the words, it's the energy you do behind the words. And I think a voice, a voice for me is already one of the most beautiful expressions of the soul. I think in the look of a person and his voice, you can feel what they radiate, you can feel who they are, you can
Yeah.
feel how they, and the kindness in the voice and in the language. I loved how you express that, because maybe it's not always, we don't always think enough, we are not conscious about
Yeah.
it, but it's very beautifully expressed. And in the beginning, Lamine said, and I love that, like how to teach our children about kindness and share stories, powerful stories about kindness. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's always lead by example. It's like
Yes.
when we teach our kids,
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, especially in parenting, that I've seen, like people, like they're more into like the kind of ordering their kids, like don't do this, don't do this,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
whereas they are not in uh, consonant, in congruence with their own action. But
Yes.
it needs to be, I mean, they need to realize that what impacts more is our action. So we need to
Yes. Our
live
example.
like there, live what we are actually saying or what we want to
Mm-hmm.
give them message. It's um, one thing that I really want to, I mean, I give a lot of advice to other parents that
Mm-hmm.
kindness doesn't mean, I mean, especially when we are dealing with the kids, right?
Yes.
Then we need to,
Yes.
it's like when we say that you need to lead by example, it's not that we need to show them that how we treat others. It's basically we need to show how we treat them. Because
Yes.
as I mentioned that, people start
Mm-hmm.
yelling at the kid that, you're not
Mm-hmm.
doing this, you're not doing that, you
Mm-hmm.
do this. It's
Absolutely.
basically taking the time out. Be patient with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now my kids are getting into teenagers, so now I
Yes.
know that this is a message for me also, like, we need
Yes.
to be
Yes.
much more patient with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to
Mm-hmm.
understand them before reacting. That okay,
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
because at every phase, I mean, when the kids grow, each day
Mm-hmm.
is different. And we
Yes.
need to
Abs-
grow with them.
and
It's
each child is different.
I
Each child is
know,
different.
yes. I mean, what
So
I used to say the same thing to my kid yesterday wouldn't work today because
I love
their
that.
life is changing, their times
Mm-hmm.
are changing, and the world around us is changing. So,
Yes.
we need to grow with them and be
Mm-hmm.
patient. At
Yes.
every time, we need to take a pause before
Mm-hmm.
we react.
Yes.
We
Yes.
need to
Yes.
be
Yes.
compassionate and be
Compassionate.
empathetic, be to
You know.
practice empathy with the kids. So I
Yes.
think that's a brief
Yes.
message I would give.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the kindness is very much towards our kids tied to giving them a sense of worthiness, because now
Yeah.
many people
Yes.
only think their child is worthy when it fits like it, like the boxes. It has
Yeah.
good grades, it dresses well, it
Yes.
says yes, like please and thank you. And giving it's like you have to be like this and then you're worthy, and it has to
Yeah.
be the other way around. Your kid is worthy for having, like for being a human being, and then you can explore like the gifts. And I think that starts where I really wanted to tie the kindness into worthiness, like as a human, not even for children. Many people who come into the world wounded and hurt other people have grown up with a sense of unworthiness,
Yes. Yes.
and that
That's beautiful.
unworthiness they have like to, how do you say, they have to hide it, they have to compensate for that feeling, and they come into the world like with fists
Yeah.
instead of with open hands.
Absolutely. I mean, you explain it so beautifully. I mean, it's we actually tie their worthiness with kind of X or the
Yes.
titles or the grades
Mhm.
which they
Mhm.
need to, whereas we need to that inculcate the sense that they are worthy
Yes. Yes.
despite these grades, despite the
Yes.
way they
Yes.
look, despite
Yes.
the way
Yes.
they
Yes.
actually behave.
Yes.
First, we need to create that sense of worthiness in
Mhm.
them. And then we need to say that, okay, you are worthy, but you need to work in a way that
Yes.
actually shows that worthiness.
Yes. Yes. And
This
and
is
that explores your, like if you
yeah,
have gifts, and it's
yes,
like our own mindset that they don't grow the weed in their behavior, they
yeah,
grow the seeds, like the
yeah,
seeds which bring them, will make them more fulfilled. Well,
absolutely,
Ambreen,
absolutely. Yeah,
I'm truly grateful that you joined us tonight.
thank
Truly
you.
grateful for your support these past days for the book. Truly grateful for that. And of course, we'll stay in touch. And thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, our next guest, Kathy Walterhouse, is probably one of the most enthusiastic interviewers I ever encountered. She interviewed me twice for her podcast, The Professional Rule Breaker, and each time it was a joy to have a conversation with her. Kathy is a former advocate for children's and family in transitions. She's the founder and CEO of The Professional Rule Breaker. So welcome, Kathy. So happy to have you here.
I am so happy to be here, always in your presence. I enjoy every moment that I am in your presence. And it's
You have your Christmas tree again, your cozy lights.
not quite, it's just some lights that I have there to
Hello.
kind of light up my background. But I love that you think that it's a Christmas tree because Christmas is always about joy and happiness and love. So I adore that you say that. And it's truly my honor to be here with you and everyone else that has taken the
Mhm.
stage as well.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all your support for the book. So, could you share maybe what powerful kindness is for you, what your perspective is on that, and how you maybe have used the power of kindness in your life?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been very fortunate in my life to have a lot of kindness
Mhm.
directed towards me. And
Mhm.
like you, Barbara, I was told the same thing too, where you're either too nice or too kind and you need to toughen up,
Yes,
especially in the business world.
yes, absolutely.
And I was very fortunate to be taken under the wing of someone who was a CEO of a publicly traded company,
Mhm.
and where he didn't have to do that. And he showed me around how to be in the business world and still be able to be kind. And I
Wow.
think that's really, really important
Mhm.
because, especially in this day and age, a lot of
Mhm.
it in the business world can be trying to get ahead,
Mhm.
irregardless of what it
Mhm.
is that you do to other people. And for me, if I had to get ahead, if I had to hurt someone to get ahead, I'd rather never get ahead. I would be happy where I am at that moment.
Because it wouldn't get ahead. It wouldn't be getting ahead. Like like a human perspective, you would get, back to kindergarten where we fight for, Yes,
That's
yes.
right. And I think
Sorry, I interrupt you.
everything that you do, whether it's good
Mhm.
or it's bad, has a ripple effect. And I am a big proponent of having a very powerful ripple effect for the good of the world
Mhm.
and to make a difference in the world. And that's one of the things I want to say about your book, because I think that's what you're doing is you are having a very profound ripple effect with your book in showing people how important it is to live in a state of kindness, that you can irradiate kindness without having to worry or irrespectful of the reception that
Mhm.
you get.
Mhm.
And one of the things I know that you said in the podcast episode, actually that came out last week, was that no one is born unworthy,
Mhm.
that we are all born with this innate goodness.
Mhm.
And I think it's almost our responsibility as humans to
Mhm.
take that goodness that you have, your strengths, the gifts that you have, and
Mhm.
put them out in the world to make a difference. It doesn't matter, even if it's just something really small,
Yes.
because I use this analogy in my podcast at the end, is it's like throwing a stone into a stream. There's a
Mhm.
ripple effect. So if you can help one person out there,
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
creating a ripple
That's true.
effect, and you don't know what that's going to do, what great things it's going to lead
Yes.
to in the world.
Yes. And who it can touch that day, maybe that you didn't even think about. And most of all, the kindness is a reward for yourself, because
Yes.
in giving, in being kindness, it's connecting with that light within you.
Mhm.
And when you withhold yourself from giving kindness, you're just dimming your light. So us being told you're too kind for, like sometimes it's just upsetting, like, what I am supposed to do now. It feels so natural to share that kindness. And
Absolutely.
then being told, like, no, don't do that. You're like, whoa, it feels just unnatural to hold it back.
Absolutely. I mean, it really does. And exactly what you said, when you do something that's in the state of kindness,
Mm-hmm.
it does strengthen your inner light. So in
Yes.
turn, because you have this, I would say, stronger inner light, it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like you can share it even more than you
Yes.
could before. But if you instead put a mask up, or again, because you're told you're too kind,
Mm-hmm.
and you try to take a step back, not only are you dimming your own light, but you're also not allowing the goodness that you have to come out. I mean, I can remember early in my career, somebody said to me, I got a job offer to head up a sales team. And
Mm-hmm.
they said to me, you have to toughen up. You have to have really thick skin for this job. So I was very young at that time. And so I ended up not taking the job because what they said actually scared me, rather than now I know a little bit better that you don't have to have that. It's okay to show people who you are. I think the more authentic you are,
Yes.
there's more of a connection with other people.
And maybe we feel now like a kind of a shift already in certain companies, where they see the importance of what is called soft skills, of being emotionally intelligent, having that social intelligence, even that spiritual, intuitive intelligence, how it makes you like a full human being than just being your rational, like we're more than only cognition. We're like the full, and having that full spectrum and bringing that into the world. I think some companies, or there are companies who are starting to see the enormous value in that. If we can just be fully human at work and express ourselves fully, I think we can contribute a lot more.
Absolutely. I think that is those soft skills that you're talking about,
Yes.
that empathy,
Mm-hmm.
that intuitiveness,
Mm-hmm.
being authentic
Mm-hmm.
can serve you in so many different ways.
Yes.
My husband has said to me, I don't know how many times he's said to me, he goes, you can disarm anyone better than anyone I know. And so if somebody's angry, or somebody
Mhm.
is not being very nice, let's put it that way. But again, it's going back to those soft skills, is
Mhm.
looking at that individual and with empathy, with understanding,
Yes.
knowing that, you know, they're hurting in some shape or form. If they're yelling, if they're unhappy about something, something is going on. And it's your job to figure it out.
And to not, you know, like not absorb it, just stay out of it in your own, you could say, in your own being kind, stay out and start from there and approaching them from that place.
Yes.
Well, beautiful, Kathy. Thank you. Thank you for, you know, like sharing your light tonight, for joining us tonight. I feel very blessed that we met, and I thank you for all the support.
I am so happy that we were able to connect. And I even think about our very first conversation. It brings a smile to my face every single time I think about that. So it's certainly been my honor. Anything I can ever do to help you, please, you know, I'm always here for you. And I can't wait until everyone out there reads your book and benefits.
And acts on it, you know, like acts on it. It's not about, you know, they can read it,
yes,
but if they go out, thinks about it. How can I?
One thing that you can do to spread kindness today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, our next guest. Now we have an extraordinary human being who will join us. She helped me hugely in tapping into the unknown zones of inspiration. She helped me connect with inner wisdom and enabled it to come, you know, like to come out to surface in this book. So Kat is a channeler, evolution and expansion guide. And yay, so happy to have you here, Kat. Thank you for being you, and thank you for joining us tonight.
I'm so overjoyed and thrilled to be with you, to celebrate the book launch, to celebrate everything that you are and everything that you're bringing into the world with this work. I really couldn't be more blessed to be here. Thank you for inviting me along.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. And could you maybe share with us what your perspective is on powerful kindness and why it is so powerful, and not why it's not weakness, but how it is really a power?
Well, indeed. And I had a little think about this, obviously, of what we were going to talk about. And I really want to just bring to this conversation the ability for kindness to be disruption, and how we see disruption as a very negative thing. But in actual fact, what this world needs is change. What this world needs is for all of us to, as you know, we've talked about, as your other guests have been talking about, to tap into that inner strength and that inner knowing, and to actually have the courage to walk through this world with kindness and actually look and say, that's not okay with me, and then do something. You know, and to see that kindness is incredibly powerful when we use it in that way of walking in this world in our inner knowing, in our inner strength, in our inner ability to judge and see the world as perfect in so many ways, and allow ourselves to just see that love and that kindness in absolutely everyone. And just to have that courage as well to be able to be a bringer of kindness in a way that disrupts patterns, in a way that lets somebody else see perhaps there's a different way of being. Perhaps there's a different way of knowing. Perhaps there's a different conversation. Perhaps there's something that's yet been unseen. You know, and to open those conversations and to allow questioning into this world now is a true gift of kindness, I think. And I know you work in major organizations, and some of the speakers here so far have just been incredible powerhouses in this world. And we change the world by allowing our kindness to disrupt in a way that is, let's open up to the potential that there may be a different way.
Yes.
There may be a different way. And yes, we can see all the other people around us, and we can ensure that we are standing in that place of being able to witness who they are as a human being. And as you said yourself, is to actually say that, that is your reaction to the world, but what's my reaction to the world? How am I wanting to be in this? How can I trust myself in this? And let that kindness to yourself be your truth and your knowing, and then radiate that and blow that out into the world, of this lovely way of sort of, that's not okay with me. Maybe there's a different way.
Yes. And I think in modeling it, in how people start to witness that different way of being and being that role model, the more they witness that, the more it, they become conscious of it. And the more they see, whoa, there's a different way. We don't have to be right. We don't have to fight. We don't have to, there's a way to stay true to your power, but yet tap into the kindness and approach people in that way, and seeing, I think, the understanding that a human being who maybe is frustrated, rude, say, like aggressive words, is a hurted person, and go beyond the first apparent behavior, like the wall they built through that, and go beyond that and see there's a human being in need for love.
Absolutely. And there's a soul there. There's, there's a very complicated human that's just doing the best they can, just like all of us are just doing the best that we can with the information and the life that we've had up until that point, and just letting our kindness guide us day by day, and just, speaking that truth and speaking our knowing, and allowing that voice of change to be out in the world. I truly see that as powerful kindness now.
Yes, that voice of change. And I think it requires some bravery to say, yes, I am kind, and I am at the same time, there's a power in that kindness. It's really helping people shift the way they have seen things their entire life. Like, no, if you're too kind, you're the doormat. Really shift that and show them, no, it has nothing to do with being a doormat. If you are in your light, if you are in your kindness, there's nothing that can break it. There's nothing doormat about it. You're more a doormat when you go into anger, because then you become, you could say, a slave of your anger, and your and just transcending that and knowing, oh, there's another place. There's a place where we don't want to revenge, where we don't have the envy or the jealousy. No, we can move beyond that and live in a much more fulfilling way. Like being just having people taste that kind. I think that's well, you said it so beautifully, Kat. I without you, the book wouldn't be here. Without your gifts, the book wouldn't be here. And I will be eternally grateful for that. It was somewhere in me, and you just, you helped me getting it out in a way that then, made it a flow from the book, because before it had always been bits and pieces. And then we talked, and then it just came out. And I'm deeply, deeply grateful for just sharing your gifts with the world.
Oh, thank you. That's really super kind. And, that's what this is all about, isn't it?
Yes.
But, I just want to say that how we are in the world is the gift to the world.
Yes.
How we shine in the world, how we bring kindness into the world is our gift to the world. So the more that we can radiate that, the more that we can allow that kindness to bring questioning and bring different radiances into this world of it's okay to be you. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be me. It's okay to let our gifts shine through. It's okay to try different things. It's okay to believe that anything is possible.
Yes.
And that's the greatest gift of kindness that we can do right now.
Absolutely. And I think many people have lost that sense of who am I, what am I to share here, because we are taught or we are molded to be a certain way. I like to say, like, maybe you were born a rose and I was born an orchid, and society says you have to be a tulip. You have to be a tulip to succeed. And everybody tries to mold herself or himself and being that tulip that is said, when you're a tulip, you will be successful, forgetting that you, if you could blossom as a rose and gift the world with your fragrance, but just because in our minds we put like, being a rose, that's lesser, like you're a lesser human being or a lesser flower than being, and I think that once we realize that, it's just, like freeing, it's liberating, saying, whoa, I can be me. And being me is not only a gift to myself, but that's the true gift to the world.
Absolutely. We were all born to be so unique and so powerful in that uniqueness. That I can't remember who said it, but there's that lovely phrase of, who am I to be that? Well, who are we not to be that? And how dare we not be that as well? There is magic and wonder in this universe and uniqueness in everything. And so we have to honor that in ourselves as well. And if you were not honoring that, then this book would not have been born. And I'm so grateful that you've had that strength and you've had that courage.
It took me 50 years.
Hey, it's only the first one. The second one's going to be far easier.
Oh, well, Kat, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, like your spirit and your light and your gifts tonight with us, for joining us and for supporting the book. I'm truly, truly grateful for that. So, well, thank you once again.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I see that our next guest has not arrived yet. So I will take the time to read a little bit from the book. I just want to read a few lines, and it's even a quote, but just to make you understand how in being human, in being, if you could say, the purpose of our life. Let me read that. The testimony of the greatest humans who have ever lived, in that the way to make the most of ourselves is by transcending ourselves. We must learn to move beyond self-centeredness, to make room within ourselves for others. When you transcend yourself, the fact will be confirmed by the quality of your life. We will attain, even momentarily, a transparency and a radiance of being, which results from living both from within and beyond ourselves. This is the promise and the excitement of self-understanding. And we live in a world where there's a lot of technological process and advance. And I think no technological progress has any sense if we cannot progress as humans. And that was one of the reasons why this book is written, and giving deeper insights in powerful kindness, in self-understanding, and going beyond the self-centeredness, going beyond the paradigm. If you're too kind, you will not succeed. Seeing that in gifting yourself to the world, in going beyond the self-centeredness, that's when we start to live, because it starts radiating not only from within ourselves, it just gets reflected from what happens outside you. So let me welcome our next guest. It's a guest from Australia, and she is definitely one of the kindest and most courageous women I know, Sarah Willoughby. Sarah is a best-selling author, a transformation and infertility coach, a speaker, energy healer, and I think I have to say good morning to you.
Good morning indeed. It's great to be here.
Yes, I'm grateful to have you here. I'm from the other side of the world. I'm grateful for your support for the book, and well, maybe you could share us a little bit about what kindness of or powerful kindness is for you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be on this journey with you. I just love and adore you and everything that you bring to the world. So thank you. For me, powerful kindness is about being our authentic selves. It's about connecting with our hearts. And by doing that, really enabling others to show up in the moments of true vulnerability, knowing that we're going to hold space for them, knowing that they're going to be seen and heard and validated. If every single one of us was able just to be who we truly are, the ripple effect of that in this world is just crazy. And I truly believe that we wouldn't have all the hurt and the anger and the pain and the wars that we're seeing at the moment. So it's what we know is that our heart is actually our master thinker. If we look at the work that the Heart and Math Institute has done, it's about connecting with our heart, not our mind. And we're not taught that through our education. We're not taught that through our upbringing and our childhood. And when we truly connect with our heart, and I know that you will understand this, when I'm really in my heart space, I feel that. And I show up as such a beautiful human being, and people feel that energy. And we don't even need to say anything when we're in our hearts.
Absolutely.
It's just that feeling, that kindness. We don't need words. The language that we speak doesn't matter. You know, as you were talking earlier, you mentioned at the beginning about a smile. When we sit in our heart, when we smile, people feel that without words. And that's kindness for other people. But kindness really does start with ourselves. And we don't show up for ourselves. We don't know how to be kind to self often because we're taught to be there for everybody else before ourselves. And so when we can be kind to ourselves, then we have so much more to be able to give to other people. And we can really truly be there for people in their moments of vulnerability.
Yes, and I think many of, like us who have been called to kind for this world, who are the empaths of this world, the givers, that's really the journey. It's about that self-kindness and really profoundly understanding that you cannot serve from an empty vessel, that you have to recharge your own batteries and protect, you could say, your energy, your being before you can go. If you don't keep that in balance, then it's no use. You're just depleting yourself, exhausting yourself, not being kind to yourself. And it's impossible to, like in being in that space of love, but in that powerful place of love, then you have to have that self-love and self-kindness first. Otherwise, it's more from an exhausted place. Could you maybe give, like elaborate on that self-kindness and how that is so, you could say, crucial?
Absolutely. It's those small moments of
Mm-hmm.
giving to ourselves those things that bring us joy, those things that fill us up. It's going for a walk. It's having 2 minutes to ourselves in the morning with a cup of tea before the children wake up. It's sitting out in the sunshine for 5 minutes. It's reading a book. It's sitting by the fire. It's surrounding ourselves with our tribe and those people that love us unconditionally. And it's just those small moments that enable us to, like you mentioned, fill ourselves up so that we have the capacity to sustain our energy over the long term for others and to be of service in the long term. Because doing this work and being connected to our hearts in a world that is full of, at times, a lot of unkindness can be really, really tricky. And I think when we truly are connected to ourselves, then being there for others is just even more joyful.
Yes.
And people feel that.
Yes.
It's
And
a
I think,
beautiful, beautiful connection.
yes. And if you, you can tap into a source which is so, like so abundant and so overflowing that you're like, whoa, that it's even a gift for yourself, because you're full of joy, you're full of love yourself in just giving. And it's maybe it's about raising your own awareness on how you tap into that. And when you feel that being around certain people or at certain places that would empty that you just balance, and that you become very much, I think you become very much you get to know yourself very well, in which places you thrive and in which places you don't, or with which people. Which doesn't mean that we, like only have to spend time. No, we're there for many people, but we have to raise our awareness in how we, like tap into that fountain of love which is inside us.
Absolutely. And for me, I think I first experienced that when I started to meditate and when I truly connected with my own heart, my own soul. And then we can increase our vibration, we can increase the energy that we have for everybody.
And maybe also, like you're a mom, I'm a mom, to model that for children as moms, that it's not about pure self-sacrifice, that we take moments for ourselves, that we take moments where we want to develop ourselves, where we want to grow, and modeling that we're not only a mom, we're also maybe a businesswoman, we're an artist, we're a teacher, or whatever. But we give ourselves the permission to blossom, like in alignment with our true gifts. And I think if children witness that can be very empowering.
It is such a gift to be able to do that for our children. And it's something that I learned the hard way, and it took me a long time to get there. But I love that I can do that for myself. And that's the work that I do with other people, is encouraging women in particular to really just nurture themselves so that they can be the best version of themselves for their beautiful children and families.
Yes, it's, like happy mom, happy, like it's a happy house, but it's the happy mom has to find a way to connect with, like, what gives us joy. That's beautiful. Well, Sarah, I thank you. I thank you for joining us today. I thank you for, like the early time. I don't know how, what the time is, where you are.
It's actually okay. It's 7:45 in the morning. It's actually reasonable. It's not normally the middle of the night. It's normally the middle of the night for me, but no, it's actually a good time.
No. Thank you so much. I'm truly very appreciative of your support for the book. I don't know if there's a last word or last message you want to share.
I just wanted to say thank you. Every time that we have spoken and we've connected and we've known each other for many years now,
Yes.
I walk away a better version of myself. And I always feel very humbled in your presence and the wisdom that you share, the heart that you share with the world. Please never stop being you. And I know that you won't, but just keep doing what you're doing. And congratulations on your book. And I wish you all the success in the world with it. And it's truly an honor to walk alongside you on this journey.
Thank you so much for this beautiful words, Sarah. I really deeply appreciate you, and thank you for, like all the support you have given for this book. We'll keep in touch, and I wish you a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Take care.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye. So, from Australia, we will go to the Philippines. I'm just checking if our guest is there. Yes, join us in welcoming Desiree Montejo. Desiree is one of the most generous souls I know. She's a copywriter, and she offered herself, from her own to support the launch of this book in the most generous way. She's not only extremely skilled and successful in what she does, she's an amazing human at the same time. So welcome, Desiree. I'm very happy you could join us from the Philippines. Welcome, and I'm happy that you're here with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Barbara, for inviting me, and I'm very happy to share my thoughts about your book and share with you today.
Yes. So maybe you could give us your perspective on what kindness or powerful kindness is for you.
Yeah, for me, powerful kindness transcends mere acts of generosity, and it's more of an unwavering force that comes from our deep within ourselves, and it's more of showing love to others, not just to others, but also to yourself. So even if others are not kind, for you to be able to show kindness to that person or to yourself, show some love, show some understanding on a deeper level why they are like that. And, you'd be able to share positivity to that person and even to the world, also to yourself.
So kindness is its own reward, as we said before.
Exactly.
Yes, I love that. It's just in being kind. It's first of all a gift to yourself, and then it's a gift to the world. So have you witnessed in your life like moments of powerful kindness, or read about stories that you're like, whoa, that person responded in what we would call a counterintuitive way, but with so much kindness that I was blown away?
Yeah, I actually can think of my family. I showed kindness to them by I actually serve them every day, every time. So I believe that's already a powerful kindness shown unto them, and the response is so amazing. I'm being touched by the response, because they responded me with so much love, so much kindness, and not just like that, they also show kindness to other people as well that they encounter, especially my kid. When he is in school, he always show kindness to to his classmates, to his friends, even if those classmates are not too kind. But what's important to me is that kindness is already in his heart, and I can say that I'm really a big contributor to what he is right now, and Yeah, and I'm very grateful to that. And it's very important because when you plant kindness into a child's life, they will
Mhm.
bring that when they grow up. So even if
Yes.
you're not there anymore, they will still
Mhm.
carry that kindness.
Absolutely. Be that role model. And I think it starts in our home always. It's not in front of a camera or it's not on a stage. It's really in those moments, everyday moments where people watch us, and I think you always inspire more people than you think. Sometimes we think that people are not watching. People always watch us, and in being that role model of kindness, in maybe modeling another way of being, because we very much see other things in the world. But if we model that, we can, if somebody is rude, we can stay out of the rudeness, we can stay calm and centered. I think that's something that people do not witness so often. And in seeing that, they become more conscious about how we can respond in different way, and creating that ripple effect. And that ripple effect can go a lot further than we might imagine. And in that ripple effect, we become change makers in the world. We become the first ones to be kind to an unkind person. We become the first ones to respond with love to hate. And in being that, and when you could say, when 10 individuals, and then 100 individuals, and then 1,000 individuals, and then 10,000 individuals all start to do that and say, like, it's enough. We had enough of wars, we had enough of hatred, we had enough. But we do it in a powerful way, we do it in a grounded way. We know, we do it with discernment. We know that the world isn't like it isn't roses and moonshine. It has no use to live in a fantasy, but you can be in the real world and still have a very loving and kind response, even, like, without living in a fantasy, but really being grounded. And I think if we can do that day by day, it's not always easy, because sometimes we have our impulse, we have a reaction, and it's a training. And I love how you model that for your child already, and him seeing that modeled by his mom. That's what he will, like, continue. And if we start to break these cycles of self-centeredness, these cycles of more, you could say, rudeness or a negativity or toxicity, if we can each time break those cycle, then we bring something in the world which at the end can be very, very powerful. That's very beautiful, Desiree. I loved how you you live by example, and that's what we need.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's very important that they see us that way instead of the
Mhm.
other way around. And we
Mhm.
wanted to, have children who have kindness in their heart so they can carry it in the
Yes,
world when they grow up. Yeah. Thanks,
it's
Mark.
really. Yes, I think it's your seed that you have in your heart, and you plant it in his heart, and then he
Yeah.
will plant it maybe in other, like peers or children's hearts, and that's how we do it, and we don't give up. Even if people say, like, "Oh, you're too kind, you're naive," we don't give up. We know how important it is, and we know how important it is to connect with that light and to radiate that light. Even, I've always said, like, the darkness in the world is an invitation for us to be the light.
Yeah,
If we can
exactly.
be that light, we do not have to complain that there's so much darkness. That will not help us. It would rather help us to just, like, bring that light, every time again, and make sure we can recharge ourselves and recharge our batteries Um, well, yes, beautiful. Um, Thank you for joining us from the far, far Philippines. It has been a joy listening to you, and I'm really grateful for your presence. I'm really grateful for your support for the book. I don't know if there's a last word you want to say or share with us.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to you, Barbara, for inviting me to these to your book launch party. And you have my support in your journey, in everything that you do. So congratulations for finally your book is already launched, and I'm praying that more people will see this and more people will take action to buy your book, because I believe they really need this book so they can return to humanness. They can show kindness not just to themselves but also to the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Desiree. Thank you so much. So, after traveling the world with our guests, join me in welcoming a guest from my homeland, Belgium, a brave soul and a beautiful human being. Muriel Marie Ungricht. She's an entrepreneur, coach, startup advisor, investor, founder, board member, and she has just released her book, Get Unstuck, the ultimate guide to stop procrastinating and overthinking and finally move forward with your life and work. A warm welcome, Muriel. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, Barbara. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. I enjoyed every conversation you've had so far. It really inspired me. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Maybe you can share, I know you read the book. You can share your perspective on powerful kindness, on how kindness can be a return to our humanness.
Yes. Well, there is already a lot that's been said today. Amazing things. And I think I align with everything that everyone else mentioned. But very specifically for me, kindness is a way of life. It's an anchoring. It's just simply a way to live an easier life. And I know that sounds so counterintuitive, but when you choose the path of kindness, you really choose the path of least resistance in many, many ways. And of course, it's an inside job. So kindness is really about how I want to stand in the world, whatever happens on the outside. And you said this in the beginning of your conversations today. It's about how I can pause, reflect, and then, have a reaction to what's an answer basically to what's happening in front of me.
Yes. Beautiful. I love that. And are there what would be your, if you would say practice, have you a certain practice in your kindness, or is it natural, or have you had moments where maybe you felt, oh, I was not so kind? That happened. So how do you recenter yourself, or
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think, unfortunately, in the world, I think we're all born kind and very gentle, but the world we live in sort of, gets that out of us, or it's still in us, but puts so many other things on top of it that it becomes difficult to choose that as the first way of being for many people. And so I think kindness is a practice, especially in the beginning. And I think one of the best ways I want to say to everybody listening to start is to read Barbara's book and then to act on it. So I would say that's number one. But what I do is it's a practice for me. So I meditate, I pray as well, and I really try to bring a lot of kindness into those things, and I do them on a daily basis. And then I try very much throughout my day to reflect on how I'm behaving. Because it's so easy to just be, going with emotions. And we all have a nervous system. And of course, we're conditioned. We have triggers. I mean, there are things, Barbara, I'm sure you're aware of that. Every human being has that. There are certain words, when I hear them, I can get very, very excited and very triggered. And so I have to watch myself. Over time, it becomes easier. So I think I do go to situations and I do live my life with a level of kindness, but there's always room for improvement. But I do check in with myself. And when I check in with myself, I very often check in with myself when I feel something here. And because that is the moment where I know I have a choice now. I can choose kindness. I can choose what my reaction is going to be, or I can follow what I'm feeling. And when I follow what I'm feeling, I'm usually not as kind as I could be. When that happens, I try to fix it as fast as I can. And that doesn't mean, I'm not talking about horrible things, of course, but I think kindness is really in all of the little things. And it's also in the intention that we put behind things. So the intention needs to be good.
One of my intentions every morning is to say, whatever comes my way today, I will deal with it with grace and ease. And setting intentions can already put a certain tone for your day, because you set the intention to deal, with kindness, with grace, with ease. And then it's a training. The more you say that to yourself, the more you approach things in that way. And maybe you can share a bit with us how important self-kindness is in the entire, you could say, spectrum of kindness.
That's a very big one, huh? I actually think that the practice begins there. The practice is also about really listening to what you're telling yourself and really listening to what you're giving to yourself and looking at that and finding compassion and kindness for you. There is a lot of learning that can be done in practicing on yourself. And of course, you can also, practice in your daily life. But I find that whenever I'm confronted with negative feelings, a difficult situation, the first thought now, when I practice, of course, is, okay, what do I need? What is the best here? How can I safeguard, what needs to be safeguarded? How can I care for the other person? And those are the questions, starting with myself and then going out, that help me to make kinder decisions, coming from a place of kindness. But I think it's very important to live in a world where we all have a very, very active inner critic. And the active inner critic is a result of all these voices we've received and all the unkind things that have been said to us and the unkind experiences we've had. And of course, we internalize a lot of that. And then it becomes our voice in our head. And we forget that it's not us. So we have to really listen to that. And then very gently, we have to, tell ourselves, it's not me. This is not my truth.
This is not your truth. And I think especially if we're moments where we're exhausted or we're confronted with more stress, we would have that voice getting louder. And I would often say, I've been there. I don't go there anymore. We don't listen to that voice. That's an old record. We know that. That doesn't help us. It's not a good place to. And once it's in the self-awareness, of course, once you become aware, that's just something that happens. when I get exhausted, that voice just get louder. And then in getting aware, it just dissolves, because it's not real. So that's a powerful moment, that awareness. Whoa, that's not real. It's just a voice, been there. Don't have to listen.
Yeah, and sometimes, I find it even silly.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
I'm like, I'm
absolutely.
back here, really? Like, are we really
Yes,
saying this again? Like, no, we're
yes,
not doing
yes,
that. Yeah.
Yes, we're not doing that again. And the more you have that more mild, gentle, and kind approach to yourself, the more you show up in the world in the same way for others.
Exactly.
And it is so much, like interconnected, that you cannot show up with genuine kindness for someone else if you feel exhausted, if you are like having that inner critic, being extremely perfectionist, criticizing yourself, then the kindness will be less genuine. It will come more from a place of pleasing rather than from a powerful place. The powerful kindness always makes you radiate first, like you radiate, and then radiating so much, well, the ripples and like the sparks and the sprinkles, everybody gets it.
You turn everyone on.
Yes. You turn everyone on. And maybe you could share us a little bit of, because I'm all about action, putting things in action. If there's some things in the book or about kindness that you say, well, we have to act now.
Well, I definitely feel that every encounter, so first, every encounter with yourself is a worthy experiment. So practicing a different way of speaking to yourself, recognizing when you need rest, when you need something. And kindness is really connected, for me at least, with acceptance, with empathy,
Absolutely.
with love, with letting go of expectations, with standing in the world almost as someone who is really open and curious.
Yes.
Who doesn't have assumptions, because we never know. We always think we know everything, and then we don't really, right?
No.
And if you let other people, if you give them a chance to tell you what you think you know, you're going to be so surprised in such a wonderful way always. So get surprised by yourself and practice all of these values, and center around kindness, and do the same with others. Like you can really step into the world and see every encounter with another person as an opportunity to practice kindness.
Yes.
And as an opportunity to not assume, to be open, to be empathetic, to be compassionate, and to realize we're all just trying our best.
Yes, we do.
And so, I like to, whenever I'm in the street or wherever I am, when I see somebody, we live in such an individualistic society. I love to speak to people on the bus, when I'm waiting, wherever I am. But also when I cross people in the street, I'll say hello. I'll say something.
Smile.
I'll smile. A smile is such a free thing. You can give it to everyone, and you have it's an endless pot of
magic.
smiles,
it's
right?
Magic. Yes.
And I think those things, we often think they're so small they don't mean anything, but that's where the ripple starts.
They do. And I think if we all start doing it, those small things, and not from a way that we are supposed to do it, but from a way that it's a conscious choice. It's more you could say an emanation of our being. It's just an expression of who we are. It's not out of politeness. It's not out of we have to do it. It's just like the natural expression. Then reconnect with that. I think that's very beautiful to end this night, this book launch event that we had. I don't know if there's some last words you want to share tonight.
Oh, I just want to say thank you, Barbara. I want to say thank you for writing this book. for being such a beacon of light and kindness for so many, including myself, and for teaching us and for being very patient with all of us too as we move through this world. So I love this book. I love you, and I think you are doing amazing work. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Muriel, for your beautiful words. I feel blessed to know you. And well, we've come to an end. Thank you for your presence. We'll keep in touch, of course. So tonight, I would like to thank all of the guests and our participants for joining us at the Book Lounge event tonight. I hope that the path of powerful kindness is more than a book. I hope it can become a movement. So let's join forces to bring this message into the world. And, to end tonight, I just wanted to share that for the next 24 hours until midnight, November 15th, the Kindle version is still at 50% discount, and that the 51st buyers who send me their payment receipt, they will receive a signed copy. So I wish you a good rest of your night, of your day, wherever you are. Thank you and love you. Bye-bye.